Okay, so we're getting the roast set up. So we got our big Dutch oven. We got our nice roast here. This one weighs 2.69 pounds, so it's a pretty good sized roast. More than enough for me and him. So we're gonna plop it here on the cutting board. A lot of people do this different ways. This is how I've always done it, and I've had good success with it, so we're going to do it that way. If I can find the salt and pepper. So when I do a roast like this, I always put in, people's told me it's unusual, but this is the way I've always done it, is I put in some corn, just regular canned corn, nothing special, and then I also put in green beans. Now with the green beans, I always drain the juice out of the green bean can, because I've done it with using the juice, and it's a little too much green bean taste. But the corn water that's in the can with them, it helps give you gives a little bit of a sweetness to it, if that makes sense. And I've found it to be good. Get some vegetables in there. So there's going to be corn, green beans, potatoes. I'm using beef broth. This is the 50% lower sodium. I like Swanson, but any kind of work. Because I'm going to go ahead and salt this roast here, so we don't have to have the broth having so much salt already in it, because this is going to dissolve, of course, into the liquid. So, and of course, we got black pepper. I like this because it's a pretty easy thing to make. You don't really have to do a whole lot. You just kind of throw it in there. It's always worked good for me. I used to do this a lot when I deer hunted all the time. I used to do this a lot with deer roast, and I got where I really like deer roast, and the way I make it, you could tell it wasn't beef, but it wasn't gamey, because I cook it for so long. It came out super tender, super good. Alright, so the roast has been salt and peppered, so we're going to just plop it here in the center of the Dutch oven like that. We got our can of corn. We're going to go ahead and pour that in here. Try to get as much of it out of the can as we can. Just kind of swoosh it around. I already drained the juice out of the green beans. I'm going to go ahead and put those in there. Of course, I managed to leave the house without my can opener, so thankfully I have my Swiss Army knife, so that saved the day. Otherwise, we'd have to be using our bayonets to open them. Get that in there. So 2 cans of green beans, 2 cans of corn. I'm actually going to drain some of this off, because I don't want too much water in there. Generally I always do it where the roast is just barely sticking out of the water, or the broth. Other people will do it where it's about halfway up the side of the roast. But like I say, this is the way I've always done it. It may not be the right way, but it's the way I've done it. So I've got these little baby red potatoes. I really like these because you can throw them in whole, or you can cut them in half, which is probably what I'll do. I'll just cut them in half. They've got a really good flavor to them. They're already pretty tender to begin with, so they don't have to cook as long, or at least in my opinion, they don't have to cook as long. I'll cut them in half, in chunks, throw them in there. So I'll go ahead and put all these ingredients in, and then we'll put the broth in. That way we know how much is in there, so we don't end up wasting any. So of course the most expensive part of this is the roast itself. That one cost us, I think, $20. Which, you know, it's a big chunk of meat, so it's a pretty good meal. Only thing is you got to plan ahead a little bit because it is a little time consuming. So, and after this we'll get it plopped on the Lodge cook-off grill like I was talking about earlier, and then we'll let her simmer and cook for a while, and I might stir some of the ingredients around just a little bit. But mainly you just kind of leave it alone, treat it like a crock pot basically. What are you thinking, Zach?
That's looking good, man.
Thanks,
That's looking real good.
I'm glad I found this Dutch oven. Like I say, it went missing for almost, well, probably 5 years. Probably more than that, actually. I used it on this. There's a spot that y'all will see in the upcoming video. That's on an island in the middle of the Coosa River over near Rome, Georgia. There's this little island out there in the middle of the river. The Coosa is a pretty good sized river. It's one of the few navigable rivers in Georgia. It's a very historic river. Rome, Georgia was a major foundry town during the Civil War and after the Civil War, and there's a lot of shipping, you know, smaller ships and stuff that go up and down, cargo barges and stuff. It was a big deal there back in the day. And the river's pretty deep. It's not quite as wide as, say, the Chattahoochee, if you're familiar with the Chattahoochee River. It's not quite as wide as it, most of its length, but it is it's generally deeper, I've found. And it runs here in Georgia for, I think it's 30 miles, and then it goes over into Alabama, and it actually runs, if I'm not mistaken, all the way to the Gulf. So it's a really nice river. But anyway, there's this island on it that I call Pumapunku, and it's just gorgeous. The stars are really bright out there, and there's lots of wildlife, and nobody bothers you, and you can fish and camp, and the island's just big enough to have your tent on, and there used to be a little bit of firewood on it, but during one of the last floods it washed a lot of the firewood, the log jam off the front of the island. So now you got to kind of go offshore from the island to get some firewood, but it's worth the struggle. It's such a nice spot, so we're planning on going there hopefully in the next month or two, but as soon as we can, either way. Get these in there. That's probably enough potatoes. It's almost the whole bag. They're small, so you can get a lot of mileage out of them. Like I say, these are baby red potatoes. These are good.
Okay, it's gonna be well worth the wait.
I think it will be. It should be. And we've got some other stuff. I haven't ate today. He hasn't ate today, I don't think. So while this is cooking, we're going to make a little bit of a snack here. We got some hot dogs and some bacon. Alright, so now we're going to put the broth in. So we got everything else in there. We're going to put this in here. You liking what you're seeing, my friend?
I am liking what I'm seeing.
Like I say, a lot of people tell you to fill it up to just the halfway point. I've only got a little bit left in this thing, so I'm just going to go ahead and pour it all in there. It won't hurt nothing. The top of the roast is still sticking out, so you just don't want it fully submerged. Generally, you don't want that.
So just throwing it halfway, just something for caution?
I don't know the logic behind it. I think it's because this is going to cook down, so you want it to be able to cook down some. Because we'll check it probably once an hour. Make sure that the broth hasn't cooked down too much, and if it has, we'll add back to it. But you want to try to get your potatoes and everything down in the water, in the broth. And I'm going to throw a little bit more pepper in there because I like peppery stuff. Put a little bit more of that in there. Try to get it kind of evenly distributed. And that's pretty much it. That's the way I do it. So we're going to plop the lid back on it. Our charcoal over here on the Kickoff grill ought to be done. So I'll get it put on there, get the coals distributed right, and then hopefully in about 3 hours we'll have something good to eat. Alright people, so we've had mild adversity here. So the Kickoff grill here is working like a champ. Problem is I didn't bring enough charcoal, so I thought I had enough. I didn't. So I built a regular fire under it here for the last hour or so, and that's got us through. But then I remembered I had the single burner that I'm always using in the other videos. So I decided, you know what, to hell with it. We're going to put it on the single burner and finish it off for like the last hour. But I thought I'd give y'all a sneak peek at what it looks like here. It's looking good. I was really worried that it wasn't cooking as like I wanted it to, but it's actually going pretty good. I did manage to dump some ash in it, and I can't see anything right now, so forgive me. I did manage to dump some ash in it when I took the lid off. It's boiling a little more than I'd want it to right now, but the problem with this little stove is it doesn't really have, the low setting is still a little too high. So I managed to dump a little bit of this ash that's on the lid into the pot roast, so that's good. That'll give it some character. It's like gunpowder, you know, it's good. But it's nice and browned up, as you can see. I figure, you know, another 45 minutes or so, maybe 30 minutes, and I'm gonna check it with a fork and see if it pulls apart, kind of like pulled pork. And when it does that, then we'll put it on real low heat, probably put it back on the Kickoff, and then enjoy some pot roast, basically. I'm going to get some shots of the creek here. It's getting dark, so I'm going to go get some shots of the creek here in just a second. The creek's pretty low right now. It's really beautiful out here. The temperature's dropped down. It's going well. So hopefully the microphone's picking up how loud the creek is, because it's the perfect spot to go to sleep to. But we had a hiker come up on us here and scared the crap out of me. He just kind of appeared out of nowhere, and he was fly fishing up the creek from us a little bit, so no harm, no foul. But he startled me and Zach pretty good, didn't he, Zach? What are you thinking of the conditions at camp here?
I like it. I don't necessarily like somebody stumbling across us, but
yeah.
I kind of like the narrowness, the little bit of what's called escapability, but still kind of close. But you know, we'll see how the fishing is tonight. See how it is in the morning.
There's a couple of deep spots in the creek over here that are a little farther upstream. That are kind of like an eddy, kind of a little calmer spot. So this other guy said that he caught half dozen or so. He didn't say, I would imagine, what, trout, I guess, I don't know.
Usually what's around here.
So Zach wants to try that out. I'm gonna build us a fire here in just a minute, get that going. There's not a whole lot of bugs or nothing going on, so, but we'll go down here and get you some creek shots here in a little bit.
Quite a pleasant night for escaping.
Yeah, right on. Alright. So, we're going to go ahead and cook some bacon here. I got the Dutch ovens over here out of frame. It's cooking away. Gonna check on it. Gonna try to check on it once an hour. We gotta get some firewood up here in a minute, get a fire going, but like I say, neither one of us has ate anything, so we're gonna cook up some bacon. And get some of this going. Get some bacon going, and then we're going to go for the extra healthy step of frying some hot dogs in a little bit of this bacon grease. Not all the bacon grease, just a little bit of it. Makes the hot dogs have a nice little deep fried bacon fat feeling to them, you know. I actually remembered some paper towels this time, so that'll be kind of handy. When I was at Walmart earlier, they had these super cheap 50 cents a piece for these. I don't know what they're made out of. I guess they're just regular plastic. It says they're microwave safe. These are 50 cents each. Got some bowls, a couple cups, and a few of these plates. So these would be nice to have because they're kind of throwaways. So if one gets melted on the fire or something, you can not worry about it. You know, my regular camping buddy Brian, he's at home. He said he couldn't come this trip because he needed to do like adult stuff or something, and like house maintenance and all that. That's what I said. I'm like, come on, man. He probably tired himself out doing all that fancy cooking last time, so.
I'm just kidding, Brian. We like you.
It's like the Hardy Boys say, we love you and we need you. All right.
Exactly.
There's nothing sketchy about cooking with the whole thing rocking back and forth. That's not sketchy at all. You just gotta be a little gentle, that's all. You gotta finesse it a little bit. Sorry, it's a little grainy. It's really dark down here in the bottom of this creek. I've been up there cooking so long that I let the time get away from me, but this is what the creek sounds like. There's the little waterfall over there. And then if you pan over this way, you got a beautiful creek here. Lots of rapids and lots of water movement and noise. Zach's over here fishing. Trying to catch something. Got a nice big log across the creek right here. I'm gonna see about walking across that maybe tomorrow. My balance ain't the best in the world, so I'll have to see if I feel up to it in the morning. And I just thought y'all like to see the creek. All right, so after what, probably 4 hours, Zach? Probably 4 hours. We finally got it to where I want it. So I went ahead and cut the roast up into bigger chunks, or smaller chunks I should say, just so that it cook a little more quick for us. And like I say, the potatoes are done, the carrots are done, all the corn, it's all done. It's real soft, real easy to cut. It's not quite like pulled pork, you know, where it just falls apart with just barely touch it. But whenever I've had it like that, it was usually after cooking it for like, you know, 6, 7 hours, 8 hours, something like that, when I used to do it with deer roast. But this ought to be really good. So we're about to, oh man, the steam coming off it fogged over my lens. Let's see it at all. There you go. Hopefully you can see it better now. Sorry about that. The steam coming off of it fogged over the lens. So, but I even threw some bacon chunks in it about 20 minutes ago. Just let some bacon sit in there. So it's looking good. So we're about to put it in bowls, and we'll show you what that looks like here in just a second once I find my ladle. Alright, well I can't find my ladle, and I'm going to go ahead and accuse Brian of having it. So we're just going to use this corn can right here. And so once again, sorry about the lighting, it's a little dark out here. Hey Zach, could you hold this?
Yeah.
Just kind of hold it over there to the side, like about right there. Yeah, there you go. They can see it good right there. Alright, so we got our 50-cent Walmart bowl here. And we're just gonna try to scoop some of this goodness. Go ahead and put it in the nice big tender chunks. Put that in there. And get some more broth to put in there on top of that. Make sure we get some potatoes and whatnot. Try not to steam up the camera lens again. So that's what it looks like. You got all your good nutrients in there. You got a lot of meat, you got corn, potato, and green bean. And it should be mighty good. So we're gonna go ahead and eat this, and we'll do that. See if we can't tune in to Coast to Coast AM here in a little while.
Yep.
So anyway, we'll give a report later. All right, so we just had some oatmeal, had some coffee. We're getting ready to pack up here in just a second and head on home. But the roast was good, the fire was good. It finally cooperated with us long enough to get a decent fire burning. Took a while. It took a lot of scrounging around because almost all this wood here is soaking wet. So we finally, apparently it had just rained here before we got here because the ground was still wet when we got here. But we managed to get it going. We had a fire up till past 3 o'clock, I guess, when we finally called it a night. Zach slept in his one-man tent. I actually slept in the passenger seat of my truck here. I didn't feel like messing with the tent or even getting my cot out. I just kind of wanted to leave the windows open and chill in the truck. So it actually worked out really nice. The seats in this old 90s model Chevrolet are really comfortable. So anyway, I know this was kind of a shorter video as far as, you know, what's shown in it, but I hope you enjoyed watching it, and I hope you enjoyed the other content. So thanks for watching.